Hi everyone, welcome to Mrs. Keep's live stream. I hope everybody can hear me, and I'm looking forward to having you guys log in. So, we're going to give just a couple of minutes to get some followers and to have people log in. I don't want to start the lesson before everybody's jumped on board. However, this is going to be recorded and put on YouTube later, so I can't just sit and wait. So, I'm Mrs. Keep, and I am teaching from home, and you guys are learning from home. Today, we are going to take a look at Jeeves Uses the Old Cerebellum, which is Chapter 1 from P.J. Wodehouse's The Inimitable Jeeves. It is a fun, light-hearted introduction to Jeeves and Wooster. Hi, Paxton. Um, and we are jumping in just early in the story. A little background first, and I've got my notes here. Um, let's start. There we go. Hello! I don't know if my video will be any good, but we'll give it a shot. Um, we'll start in with a little background on P.G. Wodehouse. So, P.G. Wodehouse, his dates go from October 15th, 1881 to February 14th, 1975. He was called Plum by his friends. He was the son of a magistrate who was working overseas. And so he was raised primarily by his grandparents, by a bunch of aunts and uncles, and he and his brothers also went to boarding school. And that forms a lot of the characters and the settings that are all part of his story. One of the things that you should know about P.G. Wodehouse is that when he left school, he went into banking, and he found it incredibly boring. So, he started writing on the side, and just writing in his spare time. He wrote for newspapers, he wrote for magazines, and he built his writing career. And by the end of his writing career, he'd written something like 90 novels. Let me see where I have it. Yep. 90 novels, 40 plays, 200 short stories, and a bunch of other writing. And he wrote well into his 80s. He kept writing. At the height of his powers, he churned out about a book every 3 months. He took a long time to craft his writing and to build his plots, but because he had several going at once, he would finish one and release it and have another ready to go. He loved sports, he loved cricket, he loved golf, and he actually played on a cricket team for authors, along with some other people you may have heard of, including Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, A. Milne, you know, the guy who wrote Winnie the Pooh, and J.M. Barrie, the guy who wrote Peter Pan. He knew them. He played cricket with them. They were friends, and they admired each other's writing. And if you read a bunch of P.G. Wodehouse, you will see that his writing style echoes and incorporates literary allusions from other writers. His comic writing style is gorgeous. I love P.G. Wodehouse. He's the author, and this is the reason I assigned him. Hello! To him. I assigned him to you, rather, during this kind of stressful situation because P.G. Wodehouse is. He's funny, but his plots matter to the characters, but they don't actually matter much to the world. And all of his stories are kind of set in this pre-World War One Edwardian. Most of the characters are kind of rich, and even if they're not really rich, they've got enough money to be getting on with. Nobody's really living, the realities of life. Everybody's kind of in this never never land of London and the big houses that kind of go around it. Bertie would be the kind of person who hung out with the Downton Abbey crowd, in the 1920s and 1930s. And he goes to these house parties in a lot of novels. And a lot of the stories have to do with romantic entanglements and just ridiculous nonsense. And that's where we find bingo in this story. So, before I move into the plot of the story, I want to tell you that a lot of the time, P.G. Wodehouse isn't taken seriously because he's a comic writer. And we all know that comic writers, comic plays, comic movies never really get the attention that they deserve because people think things should be serious. But P.G. Wodehouse has been compared to Shakespeare in his craft and in his diligent work with the English language. He incorporates literary allusions all the time and you probably noticed things like the Shakespeare, the Bible, Sherlock Holmes, all kinds of poetry. And he also uses simile and metaphor to do amazing descriptions. Okay? Let's take a look at the prose. And I'm going to switch to turn off my camera. I will be back. And let's take a look at, well, there we go. Can you see that? What you're looking at is a publicity poster for Jeeves and Wooster, which was a very, very great British television show starring, as you can see, Stephen Fry as Jeeves and Hugh Laurie as Bertie Wooster. And it took the stories that are about Jeeves and Bertie and made them into a television show. It's very, very funny. They're not 100% word for word from the stories. They take a lot of creative license, but they're very good. So if you're having a hard time imagining what's going on in the story or getting a grip on the feel of the story, maybe check out Jeeves and Wooster on YouTube because they have a bunch of them. And that might help you kind of get a feel for what's going on. Okay? All right. So what you're seeing here is the very beginning of the Inimitable Jeeves. And I'm going to switch for just a second so that you are, as soon as it's up and ready to go, going to see my screen. Hello, you're seeing my screen. Now you're actually seeing the book, the story. And scrolling down, what you see at the beginning, after all of this in the table of contents, the first two stories or the first two chapters rather, are one short story. And then next week and the week after, we're going to read chapter 2 and chapter 3, which is another short story together. And that's going to lead us actually into our next short story, which won't be P.G. Wodehouse. It will be Agatha Christie. But the second little short story here leads nicely into it. So in our story here, the Inimitable Jeeves, in chapter 1, Jeeves exerts the old cerebellum. What we are introduced here is Jeeves and Wooster, and it's as Bertie is waking up, Jeeves is greeting him in the morning, and we get a beautiful description of Jeeves. And a lot of you guys in your comments, some of you have read far enough and you've gotten far enough in the daily comments, and it's okay if you haven't yet in the Google Doc. Feel free to read through what other people have written. At the end of the first two questions, there's a little discussion space, and before we start into next week's questions. People are describing Jeeves using particularly this section. Some things that came up in the reading that I want to talk about. And I will switch back to, there you go. Okay. Vocab that came up. The first thing is Jeeves mentions a horse, a privateer, and Bertie wants to bet on it. And Jeeves recommends that he don't, because he will lose his money. And they also talk about being sanguine, which means being relaxed, being calm in a difficult situation. And they mention As Birdie is getting dressed, he mentions wearing a Homburg and having a Wangji. And these are items of clothing and style that we don't really use anymore, but I can show you what they are. Give me a second. Okay. This kind of cane is a Wangji. It's made from bamboo. And Birdie is a well-dressed young gentleman who's going for a walk on a beautiful day in the park, and he is of course going to wear his Homburg. And so here's a Homburg. Okay? So that gives you kind of a feel for the style of Birdie. Now, let's do a very, very brief plot overview. Everybody okay so far? Ah, good question. No, we are not going to have a test on this. Very good question. Thank you. No, we are not testing. I'm easing into online learning, and so I want you to just be enjoying and learning about the story, the characters, but we're not going to stress you out with the test right now. Maybe as we get a little more comfortable, as we get farther into April, we might do a quiz or something like that. But before we do any of that, I will absolutely let you know. Good question. Okay, so let's do a really brief plot overview for Chapter 1. As we mentioned already, Bertie Wooster's waking up on a beautiful day. It's gorgeous. He feels great. He has this great little conversation with Jeeves. He appreciates how amazing Jeeves is and how easy Jeeves makes his life. He gets dressed up and goes for a walk in the park and runs into his old friend Bingo. And he knows Bingo from school. And people tended to have wacky nicknames at school. I suspect a lot of you guys have nicknames for each other. And boarding school, which, like we talked about, PG Wodehouse would know about, would definitely, boarding school folks would definitely have nicknames for each other. So here's Bingo. Bingo is wearing a truly atrocious tie. I want you to imagine the ugliest, ghastliest, which is a great word for ugly and horrible, like blatantly colorful tie. And Bertie hates this tie on sight. Why are you even wearing that? And Bingo tells him he's wearing it because this girl he likes bought it for him. Now, we can all relate to that, right? Somebody we love bought us something and we don't really care for it, but we wear it because they bought it for us. Yeah. So Bingo takes Bertie. He's like, I want you to meet her. I want you to meet her. Now, Bertie is expecting that it's a girl from their social circle. But of course it's not. It's Maybelle. Okay, and I'm going to switch here to the later in the story here, talking a little bit about Bingo. Mabel is a waitress, and she's working in the lower class part of London, Camberwell. There we go. And Bingo has fallen head over heels for her. And Bertie thinks all of this is tacky. Just not that he's judging her because she doesn't have as much money, but because she's working in this sort of tacky cafe, and it's not what Bertie expects. Bingo is head over heels, but there's a problem, right? Anybody remember what the problem was? Yes. Bingo gets an allowance from his uncle. Bingo isn't independently wealthy. Bertie is. And Bingo gets an allowance from his uncle, which allows him to live his lifestyle. Well, one, his uncle therefore has to give him permission to marry, and he's pretty sure he's not going to get permission to marry a girl who's a waitress. Two, if he's going to get married and support a family, he needs more money. So he goes to Bertie and he asks him, look, isn't she a wonderful girl? I need your help. I need you to help me convince my uncle to, one, give me more money in my allowance, and two, give me permission to marry the waitress, Mabel. Which is funny because Mabel is the name of our neighborhood cat. Apropos of nothing. So, Bertie, of course, knows that he is not the brainiest boy in the bunch, and he does what he always does when he needs help. He goes to Jeeves. And Jeeves comes up with a plan. And the plan seems weird, doesn't it? The plan is to have Bingo go and read to his uncle. And right now, his uncle has had gout, which is a disease you get when your body is not processing enzymes and fats correctly, and you have to go on special diets. And so his uncle is having to eat like really simple foods, and he doesn't like it because his uncle's a gourmet. His uncle likes fancy foods. And so his uncle's really grumpy about it, understandably. And so Jeeves's plan is, look, Bingo, go read to your uncle every night. And I don't want you to just read him whatever he wants to be read to. I want you to read him these sentimental romance novels by Rosie M. Banks. And they're all about like an upper class guy falling in love with a lower class girl. Yes, it is exactly a forbidden love story. Yes, well done. That's what this is. Thank you. So it's Bingo who has the forbidden love story. He goes to his friend Bertie. Bertie's kind of useless on his own, so he asks for Jeeves's help. And so Jeeves comes up with this plan to help Bertie help Bingo. Now, those of you who've read chapter 2 and the end of the story know that that doesn't work out exactly, and that Jeeves has plans within plans, but we will do that. We'll talk about that next week, shall we? Okay. Does anyone else have questions? You can type them into the chat. Okay. As people are typing, because I see some bubbles going, I want to just kind of briefly overview how our work is going to go for the next 2 weeks. Like I said, we're going to be reading this story. Good afternoon. Hello, Shelley. We're going to be reading this story, chapter 1 and chapter 2, this week, chapter 1, and through the middle of next week. And then next week, we'll do chapter 2. If you've already read ahead, fantastic. Thank you. You're going to go to our classroom website, which is WH so W like winter, H like haven, keep like me, .wordpress.com, and you'll see all of the assignments laid out there. You can do them at your own speeds. You can go as quickly or as slowly as you want. Okay? So if you have some time and you want to sit down and answer a bunch of the questions like some of you have, wonderful. If you want to just check in once a day, great. Perfect. Our school requirement is 1 grade a week. So I'm using the daily questions to take attendance, and then I'm just putting them in as a 5-point grade. So basically, your questions for the week are little tiny grades that are all adding up. If you've got a network error, try restarting and just refresh your page or refresh your app and come on back in. That should help. And so you'll see if you go into Focus, the Intergrade book, you will see that if you've submitted, you should have a 5-point grade. If you did it like in the last hour, give me time to take care of that. I haven't quite gotten there yet. If you haven't had a chance to do any of the daily questions yet, that's okay. Take them at the own speed. Good question about why once a week. So the question is, why is our principal requiring that we only have 1 grade a week? She doesn't want you overwhelmed. That's really the answer. We know that most of you guys are sharing devices among members of your family, that your Wi-Fi is being shared among people, that some of you are working on your phones, some of you are working on laptops, some of you are getting the school laptops, or you already have. By the way, They are distributing laptops again on Monday, the 7th. I want to make sure that that's right. Nope, nope. I'm reading. Sorry, I'm on my husband's computer and his date is in English. Yes, Monday the 7th. That's right. Um, so if you're a senior who doesn't have a laptop yet, you can go by school in the morning on Monday and they will get you one. Um, and so anyway, we know that everybody's struggling. We know that this is a challenge and we just want to make life a little easier for you. Okay? We also want to make sure that nobody's putting in zeros or anything like that. All of the teachers are under instructions to be patient, be focused, be gentle with you guys. Okay? And nobody should be putting in zeros until at least as early as the end of next week. Okay? So none of your teachers are going to put in zeros until then. That's what Miss Williams told us. If you're having trouble with our video, I'm going to go ahead and save this and I'll put it up on YouTube. So if you are getting network errors or not able to log in or whatever, that's okay. Don't panic. I will put this on YouTube and then you can watch it there. Okay? Anybody else got a question for me before we close up shop for this session? And by the way, I appreciate this. I know this is a challenge. And I know that everybody's just kind of getting used to us here. I'm going to switch to here so you guys can see my camera. Hello. Okay. That's a good question. One question related to the literature was posted, which was, is the story a forbidden love story? And yes, it is. And what makes it forbidden is class distinction. Good question. Our next assignment after this one is going to be chapter 3 and chapter 4 of the same book, just because we're comfortable with it and you guys all know how to access it. So you already have the questions for this week and next week. I will be posting shortly, probably early next week. I'll post them. The following 2 weeks worth of questions for the next 2 chapters. That'll take us well into the middle of April. And after that, we're going to do an Agatha Christie short story about stolen jewels. Ooh. I'm sticking with short stories right now, which are all accessible on Project Gutenberg, because that's an easy thing you can either download or you can read directly off your phone or off the website. You don't have to log in for anything, and it seems to have the handling. Yeah, absolutely. It is fine if you are done with chapter 3 and ready for chapter 4. Go ahead and keep reading, and I will write up the questions and I can email them to you. I don't have them written yet. So go ahead and read through chapter 4. Chapter 4 ends the second short story. And as soon as I have the questions up, I will email you. Okay? Good question. Who's got another question for me? We're going to go maybe 5 more minutes on this. You're welcome. You can. I don't know much about Edgenuity. The question is, can we ask you for help on Ingenuity? You can, and I will do my best. I am not using Edgenuity for our English classes. It just had so much information and so many assignments, it felt too overwhelming. So I'm not using that for English. But if you're doing another class through it, I will absolutely do what I can to help. And if I don't know how to help, I will reach out to someone who does. Good question. I am happy to be your point person for technological questions. Thank you. You guys are doing a great job joining in here. Let me kind of give you a heads up. I miss you too. I miss you guys. And that kind of leads me into our next question. Would you be interested in doing a group, like a group call through Microsoft Teams or something like that? Is that something that you would like to do? Um, if you guys would like to do that, let me know. I'll probably put up a poll on the classroom website, maybe over the weekend or next week, and just kind of see how people feel. I don't know what everybody's internet's looking like. PDF sites to look at. Good question. Um, relating to, let me pull up. Okay, relating to PDF, and then the answer is, why do you have English on Ingenuity? I'll get back to the PDF in a second. You have English on Ingenuity because they automatically put all of the classes on there for the core and then gave us the option to use them or not. I took a look at them, thought it was too much for us, and decided not to use it. So that's why it's on there. Don't even worry about it. You can completely ignore it. I'm not taking Edgenuity for a grade at all. Okay, PDFs. Um, you're looking at my what I'm seeing right here. Okay, the PDF, if you go to Inimitable Jeeves, instead of going to the HTML, if you type in the title Inimitable Jeeves PDF, and you click on the Project Gutenberg link, which is the one we've been doing, they have the EPUBs, they have the Kindles, they have the plain texts, and those are all downloadable. Okay. There are probably other PDF ones out there as well. Just be a little careful of kind of the sketchier sites. I know that Project Gutenberg is accurate and safe. So this is a good one to look for downloadables. And if you're reading off your Kindle, or if you just want to read the plain text version, which basically operates like a PDF, that's there. Okay? So if you just search for Inimitable Jeeves PDF, it'll come up. I know you're seeing what I'm seeing right there. Okay? Um, the Okay. Let's get back to that. Okay. Um, yeah, however you access your PDFs is fine. Inimitable Jeeves and all of the things we're going to read are out of copyright. So you should be able to find PDFs or easy web access. And all of it is legal to have without violating copyright, because it's all plenty old enough to get up to not flag copyright. Okay. Um, how we doing? Those were excellent questions. Any other questions? We'll wrap this up in about a minute. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Oh, yes. Yes, we could use Zoom for group discussion. So, yeah, good. Thank you, Skylar. Yes, we could. Um, I know that it might be nice for you guys to see each other, so I will put up a poll on the website. Just say, yes, I'd like to do that, or no, I wouldn't like to do that, so that I'll know who wants to be involved, and whether you guys would like to do that together. And it would just be to chat um, and to discuss what we've been reading, and just have a little fun and kind of reconnect, because I know everybody's stuck in their houses together. I also want to tell you, as I wrap this up, I am proud of you guys. You have worked hard, and you are working hard, either because you're getting all set up for school, or because you're out there working 8, 10, 12-hour shifts at your jobs, you're taking care of your families, or while your families are out there working, you're taking responsibility for your brothers and sisters and your cousins and your folks at home. I know there's low level stress right now, just existing in the world. And I also know that a lot of the things you were looking forward to as seniors are either postponed or not happening. I don't have information about graduation yet. I don't have information about any of that yet. Um, as soon as I do, I will let you know. But I want you to know it is okay to feel whatever you are feeling. It's okay to feel fine. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to be angry. None of this is your fault. None of this is anybody's fault. And we're all kind of in this situation together, and we are all doing your best. So, if you're watching TV and a puppy commercial comes on and suddenly you find yourself crying, that's okay. um, if you feel the need to go out and work in your yard or fish in your pond or whatever, that's okay. Um, and if you're getting frustrated with the people you live with, that's okay too. It is completely understandable. It's completely normal. Just remember, we're in this together, and don't make me do the High School Musical dance because nobody wants to see that. I don't know what we're going to do about graduation. That's a good question. Um, at this point, no news is good news because it means they haven't canceled or moved anything. As soon as I hear, I will let you know. Yeah, Paxton says Haines City High School graduation still on track. As far as I know, ours is still on track. We were scheduled for the end of May anyway, but like I said, I don't know. Um, no official changes have been made, so that's good news right now. All right. Any other questions for me, guys, until before we wrap this up? All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want you to know that I love you, I miss you, and I want you to be smart and be safe, which is always what I say when you leave for a break. Be smart and be safe. All right? I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.